Hey guys, welcome to Jesus on Leadership Week 3. I just want to encourage you guys to keep going, be diligent in your daily readings. We're halfway through it, and if you'll just stay strong, you're going to really get a lot out of this material. So, I want to start this week by asking us all a question. If you were to bump into a casual friend or a family member, and they were to ask you, what is it that you do at church? Are you prepared to tell them? Do you know exactly what you do every Sunday or Wednesday or whatever day you're serving? Or maybe you serve outside the church during the week. Are you prepared to give them a detailed accounting of exactly what you do, and more than that, why it's so important that you do it? If you're not prepared to talk about what it is that you do at church and explain to somebody why it is so important, then how are you ever going to be able to convince yourself that you need to apply yourself 110%? Most of us are going to get plugged in helping at church in one of two ways. The first thing that might happen is you might be casually walking down the hallway and somebody would approach you and say, would you like to help us in the parking lot? And maybe somebody might catch you leaving the sanctuary and say, would you like to help us in the coffee bar or at Info Central? And you might connect with that person's personality. You might find that you have some things in common and it looks like it's an inviting opportunity and you'll go ahead and take part in it. Another thing that might happen is you might be a school teacher or have some type of inclination to work with children, and so naturally you'll gravitate towards those ministries and offer yourself available to the people that are in charge of that. What we're going to be examining this week is one step further than that. Are you plugged into a ministry where you're being used the most effectively? 1 Corinthians chapter 12, beginning in verse 14. It says, now the body is not made up of one part, but of many. If the foot should say, because I'm not a hand, I do not belong to the body, it would not for that reason cease to be part of the body. And if the ear should say, because I am not an eye, I do not belong to the body, it would not for that reason either cease to be part of the body. If the whole body were an eye, where would the sense of hearing be? It goes on to talk about, are you a mouth? What if you were an eye, etc. I'm not trying to cause confusion here and try to get you to sit there and think, maybe I'm plugged into the wrong ministry. Maybe I need to hop around. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get you to identify that you are an eye, that you are an ear, and basically serve your function as best as possible within that ministry. So there's going to be basically two things that are going to be covered this week that I really want to emphasize. The first is going to be the relational survey. And basically what that's going to identify, it's going to identify the type of relationships that you have in your ministry and how you outreach to people in the church. So what exactly does your church, does your ministry do, and how does it reach people that are part of our church? Maybe people that are coming in for the first time, or people that are already members and maybe are going through something in their life that they need for you to reach out to them. The second thing that we're going to be doing is we're going to be identifying what type of a leader are you. Are you the type of leader that has a lot of dominance? Are you the type of leader that carries with them a lot of influence? A couple weeks ago, I had the unique opportunity, I should say privilege, to serve in the parking lot one Sunday afternoon. And at the end of the service, when somebody asked me how it went, my immediate response was, it went great. I'm the best parking lot attendant that we've ever had at CGC. But the truth of the matter is, it's just natural in my personality. I wanted to talk to people and see how they were doing and carry on conversation. And it's something that when people get out of their car in 110-degree weather, they don't seem to appreciate very much. All they want from somebody in the parking lot is get me in the church as soon as possible. So if you were to ask me how I did, I would say I did great. Because I engaged people and people were having a good time in the parking lot. It's the funnest day in the parking lot ever. But if you asked people that were just trying to get into the church, they were probably a little annoyed by the fact that I kept them out there with that type of heat. So in that scenario, even though I felt like I was being the most useful I could out in the parking lot, my particular skills were better served somewhere else. The reason we've gone over all these different aspects, we've gone over the fact of are we in the right place? Is our personality the right fit for the place that I'm in? Am I being the most effective? Not only for myself, but from the perspective of the ministry that I'm helping with. The reason why we've gone over trying to identify the type of leader that we are. The reason that we've talked a little bit about being knowing our teams well enough that we could approach them with specific needs that in their specific life, in their specific profession, they could be of best help to us, is all for one purpose. We are called to be leaders that are enthusiastic. Enthusiasm is contagious. And that's ultimately what we want. We want to be the type of leaders that when you're on my team, you know that I'm taking you somewhere. You know that we're going, that we're serving a specific type of purpose. Now, just like Paul talked about the fact that there's different parts of the body, and like Pastor Richie gave a couple weeks ago an illustration about the lifeguard being so preoccupied with, I should have gone to medical school to be a doctor, or the doctor thinking, I should be out there being a fireman. That's, more of a heroic role. Or the firefighter thinking that, he should be out on the beach where it's nice and cool. We need to figure out where we're at and be content with it and do our job so enthusiastically that it doesn't matter if, maybe it's long term, that's what you want to do is be out in the parking lot, or maybe long term you want to be doing hospital visitations. But whatever it is that we're doing it effectively, we're doing it efficiently, we're doing it with the type of pastoral covering that is healthy for the church. And last but not least, we're doing it with a level of enthusiasm that people are so overwhelmed by the fact that we want to help, that we want to touch, that we want to spread the love, just the way Jesus taught us to, that they are compelled, if for lack of a better term, that they're compelled to be part of our team, that they're compelled to be part of our church. Listen, I have a friend that I've been inviting to church, him and his family, Melissa and myself together. We've been inviting them to church for years now, asking them to come to special events, asking them to come to church on Sundays, Easter, Christmas plays, you name it, we invited them to it. Just recently, during this weird set of events, he had the opportunity to serve at the church. From the day that he came and served at the church, it's just really weird circumstances. Him and his family, or at least his wife and his kids, have been to church 7 weeks in a row. Sometimes people want more out of Jesus than just good preaching. Sometimes people want more of a relationship than just a friend inviting them to church. People are looking for a purpose, and we have it right here in front of us. The biggest, most important job ever assigned, to reach people, to touch them for Jesus. And we need to be enthusiastic about it. We need to be so excited from one day to the next when people meet us, when they see us doing the work of Jesus, that they want to meet. God has given you gifting. God has given you talents. God has given you experiences that you uniquely have been through. God has given you so many different things that if you start looking at it with a different set of eyes, are tools that you can use to reach people. Be enthusiastic. Be open-minded. Be willing to go that extra mile to touch somebody. Let's be the church, even, or should I say, especially when we're not at church. Wherever you're at, whatever it is that you're doing, Monday through Friday, or Monday through Saturday, find a way to be heard. People's lives are counting on it. Amen.